Hi, I'm Sarah from CalcMedic, and this video is called Know Thy Exam, where we're going to talk all about the structure of the AP Calc exam. Now, knowing what's coming for you on test day is one of the best ways that you can prepare. So you'll know how to manage your time, and you can also feel comfortable and confident on test day. So here are a few big overview things. The test is 3 hours and 15 minutes long, although there are some breaks in there. There are 45 multiple choice questions and 6 free response questions. And both of those sections are equally weighted, so they're both 50% of your score. Now, you do not get a formula sheet on your test. However, there are some sections where you're allowed to use a graphing calculator. Most students prefer to use the TI-84, but whatever model you're comfortable with is going to be your best bet. All right, so let's talk about the multiple choice section. That is going to start with a no calculator section where you have 60 minutes to answer 30 questions, so roughly 2 minutes a question. Then you're going to have a calculator for the next 45 minutes where then you have to answer 15 questions, and so you get a little bit more time there. You have roughly 3 minutes a question. Now, for the multiple choice questions, all of the questions have 4 answer choices, and you want to make sure that you're using your best test-taking strategies like eliminating any of the distractor answers and seeing if you can narrow it down to 2 answers. Now, you are not penalized for incorrect answers, so it is in your best interest to guess at least on every single one, even if you don't have time to get there. Now, for the free response section, you're actually going to start with your calculator this time, and there are 2 questions on which you're allowed to use your graphing calculator. So each of the free response questions, you have roughly 15 minutes. Now, once you're done with that first section, you're going to have to give up your graphing calculator, and then you will get your next 4 questions. Now, this is really important. Even though you won't be able to use your graphing calculator anymore, you are allowed to hold on to your first 2 free response questions, meaning that you can go back and finish something that you might not have been able to finish in the time, but without a graphing calculator. So if you're stuck on something like an interpretation or something that you know doesn't need a calculator, feel free to head back to that at a later time. Next, in the no calculator section, you're going to have 60 minutes to complete 4 questions, which turns out to be roughly 15 minutes a question, although you might need a little bit longer on some and a little bit less on others. In these free response questions, at least 2 of them are going to have some kind of a real-world context, and on all of them, you can expect to see a variety of representations. So you might see some questions that use tables or graphs or equations. We're going to have another video where we're talking about all of the commonly seen free response questions.
Here's an AP exam tip. You can do the final 4 free response questions in any order. So find the ones that are easiest for you and start with those.
Now let's look at some test-taking tips for when you're doing these sections on the exam. The first tip is to practice with as many AP-style questions as you can. Now, you will find these questions in the review course, where you have practice multiple choice and free response questions for every unit, as well as in the practice exam. You can also get questions on AP Classroom, and you can see released free response questions from previous years. Next, you want to focus on how you're going to manage your time. So when you're taking practice exams, you want to make sure you're practicing with the time constraints of the actual exam. And remember, you don't want to spend too long on any one single question. It's better to skip a question and come back, so you're not wasting too much time on a single question. This third tip is really important, and it is to try every single question and to write down what you know, even if you might not be able to answer the whole question. Now, just because you might not know how to do part B doesn't mean you won't be able to do part C. So it's worth it to at least look and write something down for every single part of the free response question. Now, if your part C depends on a previous value and you didn't find that value, go ahead and make up a reasonable value for part B and then use that answer in your part C, and you can still earn a lot of partial credit. The fourth tip is to be confident. You know what you're doing. You might come across a question that looks unfamiliar to you, but know that they're not going to throw a brand new concept at you. We hope these tips are helpful for maximizing your score and allowing you to know thy exam.